Welcome to the Science and Environmental Wrap. In the headlines, SA scientists trace origins of drug-resistant TB, and discovery of liquid water on Mars bodes well for Mars 1. Scientists in KwaZulu-Natal have made a significant breakthrough tracing the origins of drug-resistant tuberculosis to the late 1950s. Now researchers are warning that the new TB drug needs to be used carefully to avoid drug resistance.
There's an arms race that each time we develop a new drug, the bug will develop resistance to it. But unless we use it incredibly carefully, the bug will rapidly become resistant to it too, and essentially the drug will then become useless. So in terms of policy, what we really need is a very rigorous antibiotic stewardship.
In space news, a South African scientist says the discovery of liquid water on Mars bodes well for the Mars 1 project, as science could be done there. However, it appears the spot where the water is situated is not suitable for settlement, as it may be contaminated. Mars 1 aims to relocate 24 people to planet Mars in 2024.
The fact that there's liquid water on Mars is not like, oh, let's move and put a settlement near the liquid water. Unfortunately, we will be cordoning that area off in order to look for life there. That would probably be the worst place to put up a settlement, because we may contaminate that area and never discover the truth about whether life was there before we got there. So for Mars 1, I think it bodes well for the kind of science that can be done on Mars. The fact that there's liquid water means astrobiologists are going to be going with huge full force and excitement ahead towards trying to discover whether or not there may be microbial life living there. And it's going to be easier to extract water if there are large amounts of it under the surface. However, putting the settlement near this liquid water is probably not going to be the best solution. So it may be that Mars 1 still needs to live near the poles, where they will still melt ice to make water as the original plan.
South Africa was one of only 6 places in the world from where moon gazers were able to see one of the rarest astronomical events in years. The scientific phenomenon known as blood moon is said to occur only once in 30 years. The last time it was around was in 1982. This year the blood moon was a combination of a supermoon and a lunar eclipse termed super blood moon, which made it extra special. A supermoon occurs when a full moon or new moon is at its closest approach to the Earth on its elliptical orbit. This makes the moon look bigger than normal when viewed from Earth.
But a full moon and a lunar eclipse is quite a rare thing already. What we have had already, though, is that there's a cycle of 4 lunar eclipses that have happened. This, of course, being the full moon and the supermoon, where the moon is actually at its closest to the Earth. So it's traveling around the Earth, of course, all the time, and now is when it's at its closest. And I think the lunar eclipse is actually due to happen about 53 minutes after, due to start 53 minutes after the absolute closest points of the moon to the Earth. So it's going to look a lot bigger.
Finally, 3D prints of the remains of Homo Naledi are to go on display at the London Museum. The prints were given to the institution by the Johannesburg Discovery team after bones of perhaps 15 of the human-like creatures were recovered from a cave complex at Marobeng and the cradle of humankind. It is the single largest fossil hominin find yet made on the continent of Africa. The researchers led by Professor Lee Berger of Wits University have scanned the bones to make faithful copies, and now these have been shared with the museum in the United Kingdom. For more science news, go to www.sabc.co.za/news.